Now, I know when a lot of fans look at problems with Assassin's Creed, they're often looking at the new style of games. It's very divisive. There's fans of the old games who love the new style, fans of only the old style who refuse to play the new style, and fans of the new style who don't understand what people saw in the old style. So it's its own bag of worms completely, and I understand that. But when I look at something like Assassin's Creed as someone who enjoys both styles of games, there's one decision that stands out in the history of the franchise that I think really almost ruined these games for me, actually, just point blank, and that is full synchronization, or the idea of needing to do exactly what the game tells you, the exact way your ancestors did it, or getting shamed with big red bars and lines saying you're basically a stupid, dumb idiot who couldn't do the game the way they told you to. Before we get into this, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content. On this channel, we cover Assassin's Creed. We cover all kinds of superhero stuff from, every side of Marvel, DC, all of it, even independent stuff. We love pop culture here, and we even do collectible reviews, Fallout videos, Kingdom Hearts. The sky is the limit. So I hope you will join us for the ride and check out our Discord down below in the description, where you can join a fun, awesome community of like-minded people who love stuff just like you do. Now, here's the thing with full synchronization. It really frustrates me to no end. Assassin's Creed before Brotherhood, and I know a lot of people love Brotherhood, it's a good game, but before Brotherhood, the first two games were really known for their freedom and their encouragement of playing the game in your own style. But when Assassin's Creed Brotherhood came out, we kind of hit a new era of Assassin's Creed. The thought process before this happened was essentially that it was going to be the same as Assassin's Creed 1. You were going to have Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed 2, and so on, each one focusing on a different assassin. But when Ezio came back and they revealed they had even more plans for him, people were in for another surprise that would be a less welcome one. And that was full synchronization. Now, I know what you're thinking. Video games have done this forever. They've added in little challenges that push you as a player to actually accomplish goals that a development team sets, or that other players are kind of competing against you to do, even in single player. So for example, finding hidden weapons in a game like Doom or Wolfenstein, or even challenges, throughout the history of fighters in different training modes, etc. I mean, this has been around forever. But the problem with Assassin's Creed was that it had already established itself as almost a freedom simulator. No, not that kind of freedom simulator, put your bald eagle down. But what I mean is that these games were really focused on letting you play the way you wanted. Yes, there were encouraged routes to take that you could find in things like strategy guides or online posts about the games, or even YouTube walkthroughs, but essentially you were dropped into different situations and allowed to tackle them the way that you chose. How do you want to eliminate your target? Do you want to stick close to them through a crowd? Do you want to just run up guns blazing and stab them with a hidden blade? What do you really want to do here? The sky is kind of the limit. And it was almost like a toolbox where you were being encouraged to do it different ways. It reminded me a lot of Hitman, like classic Hitman, where you would essentially be given a scenario, a big area, and you'd have tons of different ways to kill your target. This was almost like historical Hitman to this point. But when they started adding in full synchronization, this is something that really rubbed me and a lot of people the wrong way. What really bothered me about the full synchronization type challenges was they weren't treated like a fun little optional objective of, hey, prove that you can do this little thing. It wasn't something like how it was handled in Metal Gear Solid with the VR missions, which I truly believe if they had done it that way, it would have been very interesting. But instead, it was handled in a way where it was like, if you didn't do this thing, we're going to basically guilt you for it. We'll have big red words pop up on the screen telling you that you failed the full synchronization, you got 50% synchronization, and essentially if you complete the whole game, they act like you completed only half of the game, only 50%, because you didn't do it the exact way they wanted you to do it. I've never ever been a fan of this in games, especially not games that sort of sell themselves as a big freedom-like experience that allows you to play the game in your own way. When you sell your game as that, you want to deliver on that. You essentially want to give people the ability to be an assassin and play as an assassin in the style that they want. Yes, you're going through the different memories and things that your ancestors did, but you're supposed to be able to interact with that in the Animus in different ways that sort of change that story, while also maintaining its credibility and its structural integrity that makes sense. Like, yes, obviously you're not going to bring a tactical nuke in using a glitch in the Animus to kill off Napoleon, but you are going to use those tools at your disposal. And just because maybe Ezio in the past used his hidden blade instead of his wrist gun, that doesn't exactly mean that you should have to do that either. I truly do believe that this problem would have been mitigated early on if instead of doing this, they had included replayability options. And what I mean by that is not the replayability of shaming you into replaying the level so that you get rid of the little red X or red tick or red word saying, boo-hoo, you're a failure. I mean replayability like challenge modes, kind of like what something like, Arkham did. It's a great example of it, where you could go through those same rooms in a lot of cases in the story mode and play them the way you want, but then, if you want to get some optional trophies or achievements and you want to do some fun stuff that proves you can do it the way that they ask, then you do that on the side. I think Metal Gear Solid is a great example of that too, with VR missions, like I said, where you can essentially go back to different scenarios and you're encouraged to do them in different ways than you did them originally. Some of them are entirely new scenarios, some of them are more based on scenarios you already went through in a main story, but either way they're different enough that it encourages replayability of gameplay without shaming you for doing things your own way. Assassin's Creed to this point had been very much a play your own way game, and then it started to deviate from that with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which really sucks because I genuinely think that this is a little bit of a scar or a blemish on the interesting locations and story and characters and gameplay of a game like Brotherhood, because it's known for introducing this feature. Now, a lot of people were never bothered by this. They're not completionists. They're not people who really care about how the game tells you to play. They just say, okay, well, I don't care at all, and they do it their way. They get 50%. And that's fine. Good on them. I genuinely wish that I could see it that way and just do it that way. And I do think that in recent years, sort of changing this over to the challenge system is a lot better. Yes, a lot of times there still are things linked to that system with trophies and other stuff, but I think it's better to do it that way because you're not just discouraging players from enjoying the game the way they want to as they play something like Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey, or Valhalla, like a lot of the classic games did starting with Brotherhood. I think this was really a frustrating moment for me, and genuinely this inclusion actually made me less interested in the franchise. I remember after this happened and I kind of felt like all of those interesting moments for me from Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 were not going to happen again. What I mean by that is that in Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, you might be placed on a rooftop and you might have the option to kill a guy down in a courtyard. Do you want to go in and blend in with the crowd? Do you want to take out rooftop guards and do basically an eagle dive onto him, a leap of faith kill onto him from way, way far up and air assassinate him? Do you want to get down, kind of mingled with the crowd and then charge him when he gets closer to you? Or maybe you're kind of sitting around in the crowd, then you pull out your gun and you shoot him from a distance. There's a lot of different ways that you could do these kills in the classic 2 Assassin's Creed games. But your story would be slightly different from other people. Yes, out of millions of people playing the game, there would be people who played it just like you, but you could talk to your friend and how you killed a certain target could be very, very different and memorable compared to how they did it. I think it's one of the things that added to the replayability of those first 2 games a lot, was sort of crafting your own story of what type of assassin you were within the bounds of the story. You didn't leave the canon, but you sort of helped make your own as well. Once we started getting into this more, follow ABC path, otherwise you will be told that you did it wrong, I really think that you start to get into a more homogenous style of play between players. I understand that this helps avoid glitches and other stuff because you're actually encouraging people to play it in a directly game-tested manner, but it adds so much linearity to a series that was so freedom-based that it's absolutely very frustrating to someone like me who was a huge fan of that classic open style. I genuinely wish that they had just gotten rid of this completely, not even transitioned to the more challenge-based, but I just mean straight up gotten rid of all of it and then kind of gone more of VR missions route from Metal Gear, like I said before. But I do think that it's a lot better now the way it is, because as is, it really doesn't shame you. It doesn't call it full synchronization anymore, and it does more the direction that I would have gone in the first place if I was going to introduce this. I do think there is something to be said about trying to prove that you can do things the way that a developer asks you to do them, or being able to do something a way that another person can't. But I thought that that style was already there in the original games, and stripping it away really added nothing to this series for me, but it really did hurt it. I'm interested to hear what you think in the comments down below about this. I know this is a bit of a hot take. A lot of people do not care at all about full sync, and a lot of people are very proud of being able to full sync those classic games. I'm kind of, neither. I think it's a dumb system, and I don't really have any pride in when I am able to do it, except for not having to see the obnoxious red wording telling me that like my ancestors and my entire family tree thinks I'm a failure. That's about the only thing I get out of actually accomplishing that, but I'm interested to hear what you think about it in the comments down below. If you're interested in more Assassin's Creed content, I have a playlist of it that I will include in the end screen. I love this franchise, and I plan to be doing more videos on it in the future, so I hope you'll stick around for that. And check out that description down below, along with our Discord, and subscribing and leaving a like. I'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shui.